Welcome to Against the Spread right here on YouTube, where, you guessed it, we pick NFL games for you against the spread. Now, G-Lo here is going to have all of the games, except for the Thursday nighter, obviously, picked for you on sportsnet.ca, so make sure you check that out. Here in this space, we are going to talk about the 5 games that are the most interesting, to us anyways. And we start with one that is interesting because it is a extremely strong defense, arguably the best in the league, and the Ravens an extremely strong offense, arguably the best in the league in the Chiefs. Kansas City is the home team. Kansas City is the favorite. 71% of the public is with the Chiefs. Are you?
I think it'll come down to whether they can stop this resurgent offense under Lamar Jackson. They're rushing the ball better than they have all year. They're averaging 240 yards per game in the last 3 games. So I think if the Chiefs, who have struggled to stop the run, last week they gave up over 170 to the Raiders. So can they stop this team? I have question marks about whether they can, but I do believe in that offense enough that I think 7 points is doable, so I think I'll take KC.
Yeah, the number 7 is paramount because this line start at 7, move to 6.5. Also, rushing the ball in this game is paramount, and that's why I actually think the Ravens could pull off an upset, because upset in the sense of the spread. I don't think they're winning the game, because Lamar Jackson, in his first 3 games as a start, 265 yards rushing, more than any quarterback in the Super Bowl era. Oh, and by the way, 3-0 in those games. I think the winning streak ends, but the streak as far as running the ball with him and Gus Edwards continues. I think this is a field goal game, which is why I like the Ravens on the road. Colts heading to the Texans. Houston at home, 4.5-point favorites, and 70% of the public like Houston in a game that very well might decide this division. Do you as well like the Texans?
To me, this game comes down to whether or not the Colts can protect Andrew Luck, which was the key to their win streak before it came to a crashing stop last week in Jacksonville, where they gave up 3 sacks and he got hit 9 times after he was sacked just twice in the 7 games before. When they lost to Houston a couple months ago, they gave up 4 sacks, and that was a crucial part in them having to come back and ultimately losing in overtime. So I think if the Texans can get after Andrew Luck and cause some turnovers, which they've done a lot in the last few weeks, I think 4.5 is doable here, and I like them to win their 11th in a row, which is a crazy thought.
Yeah, it is, especially when you consider that they started the season by losing 3 in a row.
Yeah.
And I look at Indy, and I've just lost a lot of confidence with them, even though they were streaking before. You mentioned that loss. They were 0 for 3 on 4th and 1. Some questionable decisions by Frank Reich, who was a favorite for Coach of the Year. If the Texans continue to win like this, he hasn't really been mentioned, but might I say Bill O'Brien could be in the Coach of the Year conversation. I think Houston continues to streak, especially at home. I as well like the Texans. NFC East matchups, always fun, not a lot of offense many of the times.
No.
But these are fun for us because this is your Philadelphia Eagles traveling to my Dallas Cowboys. And if you've been watching the segment, of course you have, you do know that the last time this happened, you were the loser of a bet. You had to wear Cowboys garb in this very space.
It's quite shameful.
It was. We're going to go double or nothing, shall we?
Well, let's do it.
Okay, so we'll have the same bet, but also let's up the ante. Loser has to change their avatar to something of the other team. Maybe a photo of that person wearing the uniform or the logo.
Right.
Fair?
Yeah, we'll leave it up to the winner.
Yeah, okay. I like that.
Public shaming.
I like that. And this line is pretty close. Given the way the game went in their matchup earlier in the year, I'm actually surprised that 56% of the public are with your Philadelphia Eagles. Are you part of that 56?
So I've been back and forth on this. You know that even just a couple days ago, I was leaning the Cowboys. On Monday night, we saw an impressive performance from the Eagles offense, really for the first time in a while. The offense was consistent. There was rhythm to it. Wentz played well. Golden Tate got involved, and they're running the ball with undrafted rookie Josh Adams in a way that I didn't expect to see after so many weeks of just ignoring the run. So that's a good sign against a Cowboys defense that just shut out that offense for the most part of the Saints last week. That was really impressive, but I'm going to go with the Eagles. I think I got to go with my heart. That's it.
Yeah,
comes down to that.
I understand that, and normally I would pick against my Cowboys, but the fact that the number moved from -4 to 3.5 makes me feel a little bit better. The fact that the Cowboys played on Thursday, had a long week of rest and preparation, makes me feel a lot better. And it's crazy, but in the last 13 seasons, no team has repeated in the NFC East. And pretty much given where Washington's quarterback situation is, the winner of this game is winning the NFC East.
That's true.
And so I think Dallas wins, especially when Philly has struggled to start football games. In 9 games, they didn't score a point in the first quarter. Their differential in the first quarter this year is -23. Dallas is a front-running team, especially with that defense.
Yeah.
If they're up early, the game I still expect to be close. I think Jason Garrett will find a way not to lose a game, and I think the Cowboys will win in a close one. And I think they'll cover as well. So remember a couple minutes ago when I said it's a matchup of arguably the best defense in the league versus the best offense in the league? Well, I could be lying, because this could be a matchup of the best offense and defense in the league. Rams going to the Bears. 72% of the public with the road Rams. Why? Because the number has moved from 3.5 to 3, a field goal game for the team with the best record in the NFC. Does that surprise you, and will that impact who you're going with in this game?
It doesn't surprise me, and I think it's because of being in Chicago. Chicago, this time of year, can be treacherous. I mean, that field is notoriously treacherous, and then it's the Windy City. It can bring high-powered offenses down. So I'm not entirely surprised that it's at 3, but I think this is maybe the biggest test for the Bears this season, and we'll know whether they're NFC contenders after this game. They're going to get Mitch Trubisky back, which could be a huge boost for them, but can he go shot for shot with that Rams offense like the Chiefs did in that awesome Monday night game? I have my doubts, so I'll take 3 points for the road Rams, and I think they'll come out on top.
Yeah, see, I think whether it was going to be Chase Daniel or Trubisky, I don't think this Bears offense is going to be able to go shot for shot with the Rams, especially in a big game. Sean McVay, since leading the Rams, they averaged 41.5 points in prime time games. They seem to turn it up a notch. I don't think Todd Gurley is going to be running sideways, killing time. I think he's going to be running towards the end zone. I like the Rams to cover, and I am surprised that it is just 3. I like them because normally when they win, they do win big. This is a matchup of 2 teams who could punch their ticket with a win to the playoffs, or could be on the outside looking in, depending on what happens elsewhere. Minnesota goes to Seattle. Seattle at home, -3 favorites, and 72% of the public likes the Seahawks with the 12th man. Do you?
Yeah, it's hard not to. They're 3-1 against the spread at home this season, and playing at home has always been an advantage for Seattle, so you've got to like them there. And really, I think, we talked about the Bears in the last segment, but I think Seattle is the toughest opponent for the Rams and the Saints coming into the NFC playoffs, assuming they get in. They've won their last 3 in a row. Russell Wilson is playing really great. He's got 11 touchdowns and 0 picks in his last 4 games. And the defense is playing at a level that I never expected from a unit with such turnover when we came into the start of the season. And they're playing against a Minnesota side that over the last 2 away games hasn't mustered 300 yards of offense. And Kirk Cousins really tends to let that team down when they go on the road in big games. So I like Seattle here, and I do really like the 3 points.
Yeah, you mentioned Russell Wilson, and if you extrapolate the TD to interception numbers throughout the course of the entire season, 29 TDs, just 5 interceptions. Wow. That's MVP worthy in any other year, if not in the same conference as Drew Brees.
Right.
And Minnesota, for me, picking Seattle has a lot to do with Minnesota and the fact that they're 0-5 against teams with a record above 500. They feasted on some bad teams. Seattle is not one. I like Seattle at home to cover, and I think they're going to win comfortably. Survivor pick time, and if you are now out of your fantasy league, which is the case for the 2 of us,
I'm long
you may still be in your Survivor pool. And if you've been listening to us You probably are, because we've had a very good stretch.
Been a good run.
Yeah, we're very, very good. We're going to keep it going as well. I'm going to keep it going with Pittsburgh. And for me, it's just law of averages at this point.
Yeah.
They haven't beaten a team in the AFC West this year, 0-3. I don't think that trend is going to continue, especially because they are about to play the Oakland Raiders. And yes, the James Conner injury is sad and scares me. Stephen Ridley is going to step up, and really, I think that just means they're going to throw the ball more and at times hand it to playmakers like Antonio Brown. I like the Steelers. What about you?
I'm going with a team that if you told me earlier this season that I was going to take them in a survivor pick, I'd have laughed in your face. But I'm going to go with the Bills over the Jets. The Bills have played really well over the last couple of weeks, and especially well since Josh Allen came back. And he's playing at a level that I think a lot of people thought he couldn't, especially running the ball. He's basically their running back. And the Jets are a mess. I mean, Sam Darnold is coming back, but I don't really see how much of a difference that's going to make because the rest of the team is really suffering. So, Bills it is.
Good luck.